It's the time of the year when random cats from around the neighborhood come sleep in front of our wood stove. I'm just kidding. This is Minnie. This is our oldest cat. She is a friendly kitty, but she's not huge on being picked up. So if you try and pick her up, you may get, she doesn't put her claws out, but she might swat you. So pets on the ground, 5 to 6 pets. Don't pick her up, and make sure to feed her regularly, and it's all good. All right, folks, so we had our first frost last night, so when I woke up this morning, there was definitely a chill on the house. This fire has been going for probably an hour or so. I don't know, can you feel the heat coming off of that? I mean, it's not like a crazy amount, but it's generating a nice amount of heat. So what I have now is I have this set for the long burn. You see how there's a little fire, a little flame coming there? So I've got the vent at the top at a 45, and then the vent on the door is closed, and there's 3 stages to building the fire. When you first build it, the door's open, the top is open, all the vents are open. You get it hot up to 4 to 450, probably 450 if you got good wood. And then next stage is you close the damper to 45, close the door here to like number 3, and leave the 2 on the front open. And then the final stage, when you're going for the long burn, usually you wait like 10 minutes to make sure that you bring it down slowly. Then you just close the one on the door and leave these 2 vents in the front open. And it'll burn. Again, this is a non-catalytic, non-high efficiency stove, so I can only get like a 3-hour burn, 3-hour smolder. The fire lasts for about 4 hours. But the way I've got it now, this will give off heat for a while. And even though it's not a big fire, and look where this thermometer is, let's go outside and look at the pipe, and there's no smoke coming from it right now. There's a little bit of smoke coming out there because I do have it damped down a bit. So, if I saw this, I will go back in the house and open that door on the side a touch. And again, my wood is terrible. It's really not that dry, which is why we're getting the smoke. But once you get to the long burn, you dry the wood out good, you will get to the point where there's like no smoke. The key when you're damping the fire is you want to keep a flame. So you can see there is a little bit of a flame there, but we'll just come around and open the door a touch here and give that a little bit more air, which should give us enough burn to get that a little bit warmer and stop the smoke. How we doing, folks? I'm going to start the opening here, and we're going to head out to that house later and do some more pruning, weeding today. But I got a couple things I just want to talk about, and I'm probably squinting because the sun is like right there. But first thing, we had our first frost last night, and I didn't bring my plants in. I was considering making excuses, and I will say it was a busier day and it was a longer day, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't bring the plants in. So we're supposed to have another frost tonight. So what I'm gonna do is see if I can I think I'm probably gonna just put them in the garage for a while and see how much of the plant gets killed off, and then I'll bring them back in later. I guess I just wanna say to anybody who's a long-term gardener about bringing your plants in, do as I say, not as I do, and bring them in early. I think it's November 2nd, but we'll do that when we get to the next house so I can be sure I got the date right. But make part of your October routine to bring the plants in the house before the frost, so it's not a last-ditch effort. Especially if it's other people's plants you're maintaining, it's your job to do that. So I really need to train myself, and you think I know by now, to make sure to bring the plants in. Whatever day today is literally is the first frost, first time we've ever even come close to frost. And it's a shame, but maybe it'll be a good teaching experience for everybody. What my hope is that the growth points on the elephant ears didn't freeze over. So like in here, you know, hopefully this, because it's curled up, even if the leaf has some brown on it, hopefully it'll grow out of that. It wasn't a heavy frost last night. It probably made it down to 30. But I mean, you can see how all these leaves that were full of water, they just froze over. The cell walls break and they lose, I think the word is turgidity, but it sounds like I'm trying to use a big word to show off. But I think, you know, they lose their turgidity. They're not as upright, you know, they melt. They melt, there you go. But let's go look at some more. Impatiens got whacked really hard. There's a lot of water in their foliage. It froze and the cell walls erupted and it's over. Hopefully I can cut these back about 8 inches from the pot and they'll regrow because it wasn't that hard of a frost. And if you take a look, you can see the ones that were more sheltered. You see how there's a bloom in there? That means the frost didn't even get in here because it was so sheltered. So as long as I cut these back hard, get them in the garage, we should be okay for overwinter. This guy seems to be doing all right. The Christmas cactus actually already has buds on it, so I need to bring that in. Hopefully that didn't get whacked too hard last night. So it's kind of interesting on the back patio here. This pink tuberous begonia actually looks like it didn't get hit by the frost. And maybe it's because it's closer to the house and there was a little bit of reflected heat. But this one over here, you know, you can see how it just kind of, you know, just turned into mush. And that's what's going to happen with any of the foliage that got hit by the frost. But hopefully the growth points are okay with this, this tuberous begonia. And again, this one, it almost looks like the tip of the plant is the mush. And then I really think everything's going to be okay, but it's just going to be whacked back quite a bit. And if we keep doing the series, we'll just have to revisit them in a week or two and see how they're doing. I just want to zoom in on this crabapple here, the top of this crabapple, and hopefully you're seeing some birds up there. I think they all just flew away. But there will be birds in the top of this tree basically until they eat every piece of crabapple up there. And as much as I may have talked about in some videos before that I'm really not a fan of crabapples because they tend to lose their leaves, you know, the birds love them, so I really need to just leave this guy here for the birds. I do just want to also point out that, you know, the maples have pretty much lost all their leaves. And again, this is the first frost this year. And then the way the day is today, if you take a look, you can see there's not much of a breeze, but there's a few leaves coming. But when you get that first frost, quite often it'll knock down the last leaves, at least on the sugar maples that are left up there. I had a better shot, but there was no audio. There's a gentle breeze. You see all those leaves coming off with that gentle breeze? That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, somebody's not going to like that. See the leaves over there in my neighbor's silver maple? You see how they're just falling? They're still green. So I know I talked about I was gonna go get some more arrowwood viburnums. So I did bump this up to 5. So I've got 3 in front of the brush thicket and 2 in the back. And at some point I'll plant these, and you know, I'm probably gonna end up reinforcing the bigger wood in there. But this is really working out very well. The birds seem to really enjoy it. And whether it's a ground feeder or, you know, like the woodpeckers, everybody seems to enjoy this setup. You know, I did buy some feeders at one point. And I'll be honest, I don't really like the bird feeder for a couple reasons. Number one, it's a piece of plastic sitting out in the landscape, and it just doesn't look natural to me. The woodpeckers really like when I put the weeds, the seeds on the logs like that. But so I you know, you've got this piece of man-made plastic sitting out, and you know, I feel like it looks ugly. But the other thing is, you know, if you've got a feeder, invariably the squirrels are going to come, or whatever the dominant bird is, and it's just going to hog the feeder. So I kind of like doing it this way better, where I put it on top of a few logs, and there'll be chipmunks, there'll be squirrels. You know, you'll have your rodents, but you'll also have, you know, the birds coming through, and you know, everybody can get in and get what they want. And I'm going to actually say this might be the perfect, you know, bird feeder setup with this brush thicket, because they, I don't want to say they're impervious to hawks and predators, but you know, they can move in and out with good cover. This feeder here kind of shows my learning curve. I made a video years ago when I first built this, basically just stick with a piece of wood on top of it, and I had it closer to the house, and as time's gone by, I've tried to move the feeders farther away from the house, just to keep the mice from using it as a food source. But you know, I've come so far because I thought it was cool to put this out in the open where I could see the birds, but I really eventually will phase this one out and just stick with what I got back here so the predators can't get to them. So Theo likes to come out and watch me feed the birds as well. And he is a rescue from a group known as Big Fluffy Dog. I believe it's in Tennessee. And what a wonderful dog he is. He's a great peer mix, but he's just got the most gentle temperament, loves riding in the truck, and just such a calm dog. When I was a kid, I thought I wanted a golden lab, because they seem like pretty mellow dogs, but I gotta say Theo is just really a nice dog, great companion. The blue jays go nuts over peanuts. There's a little chipmunk. I mean, there's more than one chipmunk on my property, but there's one that's not very bashful, that is the first one out to come and get the peanuts. I think I have a film of that chipmunk from a few weeks ago. So what I started doing is putting the peanuts up in the tree over here. I thought it was kind of cool. And then we've got this one branch that I almost had an arborist cut off after one of the storms we had. I think it was one of the snowstorms early in the fall. I almost had him cut this off, and it's just, look at the character of this branch. I mean, thank goodness I didn't. It was actually the arborist who was like, John, I don't think you want to do that. But it's just the right height that as soon as I finish with putting these out here, which takes longer because I'm holding the camera, the blue jays will come and scoop these up, and then the ravens will come as well. I have a family of ravens that miraculously shows up around the same time every day that I put all the peanuts out. The ravens really love the peanuts too. So if I get too close, I'm probably going to scare them away. But yeah, I'm just scaring them all away. And I don't blame them. But this works out really well. If you're getting into feeding the birds, don't buy a feeder. Just make a thicket and throw some seed in there, and they'll figure out what to do. There's some chipmunks. I don't know if there's a chipmunk fight going on, or if I'm just scaring them. But there's a chipmunk over here that keeps rustling the leaves, and I think it wants to get through to the seed. But I'm kind of blocking it. So there he goes. I do want to make sure to bring some gloves today so I can pull that Virginia creeper and continue to make some form of progress where we're working. All right, so before we get going, I do just want to take a minute and show you this right here. And I know I talked about flowering kale and flowering cabbage, and I said, you know, whenever you see flowering kale and flowering cabbage in the fall, if you want to grow it, if it's something you're interested in, you know, just buy it right away. Don't come back, because it disappears very quickly. And I feel the same way about paperwhites. You know, nobody really thinks about paperwhites until Christmas time. And by Christmas time, if you're a guy, usually you're doing your gift shopping or holiday shopping at the last minute. I don't know, maybe there's some guys that don't. I fall into the previous category. But, you know, get them early. Basically, that's all I want to say. So I was at Tractor Supply, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, let me pick some up. And I bought 3 boxes, and I just want to show you the picture on the back here. You know, you see all these beautiful paperwhites. I mean, if you know the paperwhite, and you know, sometimes I just, the marketing guys get me, you know, and I just feel like I should be able to spot it before I see it. So if you see a little kit with paperwhites, do me a favor, and before you buy it, open it. And I really thought that the kit would have had 3 bulbs in it, but basically all you get is 2 bulbs. 3, I would have been perfectly happy. 2 bulbs just seems really, you know, again, I had a choice to buy it or not, so it's on me, but they give you 2 little bulbs here, and then they give you a plastic pot and, you know, a little peat moss thing. You soak this in water, it expands, and then you can put the paperwhites in here. So you know, usually I just take this and throw it away. I mean, I think it is organic, so you can mix it in with your soil. Whenever I get these pressed ones like this, they never seem to break down, so I usually just toss them, and, you know, it's just a cheesy pot. So all you need to grow paperwhites is just, you know, you can get a plastic cup, you can get a vase. I mean, they make special bowls for it. You can get anything you want that'll hold water, and you just get some pea gravel, you know, some decorative gravel, put it in a bowl, and then you just put these about halfway up the bulb with the gravel, and keep the water, you know, above the base of the roots, and it just grows in water. That's the really cool thing about them. And I really didn't think I was going to be using this stuff. I just wanted 3 bulbs. For some reason, as a designer, you know, you work in threes, and 2 just isn't going to do it. So I bought 3 kits with 2 in each, so I will plant two pots of, you know, I'll just get some gravel and plant them. But I did go on Amazon, and I just want to show you, this is an unboxing, which I'm going to have to, where my hand is going to have to just be blurry, because I didn't realize the label was there. But I went on Amazon and I spent some money because I just really wanted to get back to you know, doing what I love and maybe sharing it with you guys. But so these are Paperwhite, and it's a 17 centimeter and above. You on there? And it's supposed to be a 20 pack. So we'll see how I do. My thought was I could plant these. Oh, see, I guess they come in bags of 10. My thought was I could plant these like every week or 2 through the winter. And if anybody's ever grown Paperwhites, you know how nice they smell. So, so again, Paperwhite, 17 centimeter plus. This was the biggest size I could find. You know, I'll be honest, I think for 20 bulbs, it was like $70. Once you get around Christmas time, though, they can be hard to find. So I pulled the trigger. But let me show you. Let me show you the difference. Wow. So look at these Paperwhites, which I'm going to say right now I have no regrets on. So these are 17 millimeter and above. Okay, the bulbs are, you know, I'm squeezing them. They're not mushy. They're all really big, really nice bulbs. So look at that. And, you know, now I feel like I actually got a pretty good deal. But let's just compare a 17 plus bulb to the ones I got at Tractor Supply. I'm going to have to venture to say these are going to give me a lot more flowers. Maybe we'll plant the Tractor Supply ones and these at the same time and see what the difference is. So, you know, I try to plug these Amazon things because I'm supposed to get a commission if you folks buy something. But if you like, I mean, I don't really know how you would find a bigger Paperwhite bulb or a healthier. I don't want to be over the top excited, but I mean, these are nice bulbs. So you decide if it's as much as you want to pay or not, but I will put a link in the description of this video to the Amazon link I got these from, and you decide if the quality is what you want or the price is what you want. But you know, I'm going to give them a thumbs up because these are nice bulbs, and I promise if you wait till Christmas time or you go to a retail garden center, they're going to cost you know, a lot of money. So I'll leave a link in the description. It's up to you. It's probably been an hour since I filmed this last, but looks like we got no smoke, and we also have a turkey vulture. See him? They just kind of circle around, and I think they're just looking for something to eat. All right, I'm not really sure what that was. It looked like it was big enough to be a turkey vulture. First I thought it was a raven, could be a hawk, or I have heard an owl, although I don't know if owls would be out this time of the day. But it's been about an hour since we filmed the chimney, and there's no smoke. You know, there's probably not a flame in there. There's just some coals, but those coals will keep giving off heat for another 2 or 3 hours, and that's really all we need. Folks, I do just want to say, you know, the first cold day in the fall, you know, we had our first frost last night, or if, you know, if it's the winter and you get the first, you know, really cold snap down to the teens or the single digits, if you've got an older battery, which I don't really keep track of, don't be surprised if you go to start your car and the car doesn't start. The colder temperatures make it harder for electronics to work. So that's just something that's always in the back of my mind the first time it gets cold, because this has happened to me before. So I thought it might be fun today just to go ahead and see if the truck starts. And I think we're going to be okay, but let's see. It's a diesel, so we got to wait to start. And it's cold, so we're waiting to start longer. So maybe it's not looking good for this battery. Let's see what happens. All right, so she started, so we're good. But just be on the lookout. First cold day of fall. I'm not saying you know how old your battery is, but if your battery's old, it may not start.